Is Toronto's real estate market overpriced or is it actually worth it? That's the big question on so many people's mind when it comes to Greater Toronto area. Why is Toronto so expensive? Some people say the prices are out of control, and others argue that, hey, there's more to it than meets the eye. Today, I am going to break it down and see what's really going on behind those sky-high prices. Welcome back, and if you are new here, I'm Maria Ho in Mississauga, and we have been blessed with our amazing team helping hundreds of our clients moving in this exciting and fast-paced Toronto area. Today, I'm going to talk about the cost of investing in Toronto real estate. And yes, it may sound like a lot, but here's the thing. It's not just because Toronto is a really big city. There's a whole mix of factors that play into why real estate here is so pricey. And if you're considering investing here, this is a conversation that you don't want to miss. I've been living here for more than 40 years, and I have been investing in the local real estate market for more than 10 years. And it's gone up a lot during this time. The average property price in the GTA, that includes Toronto, is currently 1.12 million. By comparison, the average price was 550,000 in 2014. That's an increase of over $500,000 in 10 years. First of all, Toronto is one of Canada's major economic powerhouses. This is home to tons of jobs across finance, tech, entertainment, education, you name it. So naturally, people are flocking to Toronto, right, for better career opportunities, and that drives demand for housing. And when demand goes up, so do prices. It's the same reason cities like New York or London are so expensive. Here's the thing, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Toronto's success has been amazing, but it also means that everyone wants to come and live here. The job opportunities are great, but if you're trying to buy a home, it can feel like you're being priced out even before you start. Another big factor is Toronto's population growth. Not a lot of people know about this, but not only are Canadians moving here to Toronto, but immigration is a major player. Toronto is super attractive to newcomers from all over the world. So just in the past 12 months, nearly 45% of all immigrants moved into Ontario, the majority into the Toronto area. In fact, 46% of population in the GTA are from immigrants. And there was a new report recently published, found that out of the top 10 fastest growing cities in North America, 8 of them were in Canada. Toronto takes the top spot, with the Greater Toronto area grew by 221,000 people in the past 12 months. If you compare that to Dallas and Texas, that grew by 150,000. Toronto is now the leader in population growth across all of Canada and the US, and a lot more than most American cities just last year. When people don't live here, they simply don't understand why house prices have gone up so much. So with more people coming in to settle here every year, the demand for homes just keeps going up and up, rising. And it's not just about the numbers. There is also such a cultural diversity here that adds to Toronto's global appeal, making it really like a top hotspot. Honestly, I love how diverse Toronto is. It's part of what makes the city so special here. There's seriously people from all over the world, and you can eat like different cuisines every day, pretty much anytime, just by driving 10 minutes. And with so many people wanting to live here, it feels like the competition for homes just never slows down. So let's not forget, Toronto has a very limited land supply. There is only so much land available in the city, and Toronto is also bordered by Lake Ontario, which limits how far it can grow. So this constraint means that new development has to really get creative. So we're seeing much more vertical growth, condos, high rises, buildings everywhere. So if you're here in Toronto, have you feel like every corner that you go, there is a new condo going up? And yeah, even with all those new buildings, it never seems to be enough. The competition for space is really fierce, and the demand just keeps climbing. And that's why prices are still going up, even with all the construction that's going on. Now, I grew up in Hong Kong, And I also lived in Paris when I was younger, and these are cities with large populations and immigration. And I also lived in Dubai. I worked there. And I remember there were cranes everywhere, building everywhere. And I just went back to Dubai this year, and I can't believe how much more it has developed. It's so futuristic, and prices are just as high, if not more, than here in Toronto. So it's very similar in many ways. Toronto is a lot like it's been growing and developing and building for the past 15 to 20 years into a huge global center. So if you're planning to move here from wherever you are, please drop me a comment or text me directly. My number is below. I'm happy to answer any questions and share valuable information with you. And next, so there's also been government policy. So over the past few years, we've seen measures like foreign buyer taxes, mortgage stress tests, interest rate hikes. Everything was aimed at cooling down the housing market. While these policies have had some impact, yes, they haven't exactly made Toronto affordable by any means. The market is just too strong, and even these changes haven't done much to curb the overall demand. I mean, yes, the government tried to step in with some changes, but let's be real, the market is still really hot here. And it's, it's like, I would say it's like going back 20, 30 years when New York City was booming. That's what it feels like. So next, another thing is we have a lot of development costs. Building in Toronto is not cheap. Construction costs are high, and developers have to navigate like a lot of red tape, right? Permits, regulations, fees at different levels of government. All of these things get factored into the final price of a new home or a new condo. And while developers try to meet the demand, the high costs of building in the city just keep prices really high and elevated. So it's no wonder that new condos are very expensive. Between all the rules, fees, construction costs, by the time the new units hit the market, the price tags are really sky high. So let's be real, those costs are not going to come down anytime soon, unfortunately. So what about the rental market in Toronto? That's another thing. So with home prices so high, many people have turned to renting. And the rental market is expensive again. It comes down to supply and demand. So the more there are people looking for places to rent, the higher the rents go up. And in turn, that also drives property values up because there are more investors seeing the potential for rental income. The monthly rent right now for an apartment in Toronto is about $2,500. That's much higher than the rest of Canada. A one-bedroom rent in Toronto costs about $2,300. A two-bedroom apartment rent for about $3,000 or more. To share a private bedroom in a property right now is about $1,100 to $1,300 in Toronto. So trying to rent is almost as stressful as buying. Prices are high, competition is fierce, and the process is pretty rigorous. So it's like no matter what you're trying to do, rent or buy, you're really gonna have to be very well prepared and fast. And it's best to work with a professional agent to help you as well. So is investing in Toronto worth it? Well, it depends. So on one hand, if you're buying into one of Canada's most dynamic, fast-growing cities in the long term, that's usually a solid investment. On the other hand, getting into this market can be a challenge with prices as high as they are. So it's definitely a game, right, of balancing the risk and the rewards. I think if you've got the financial stability and you're in it for the long haul, living in a Toronto area could be very much worth it. If you're hoping to flip a property or just make some quick cash, it might be a lot tougher than you think, and you might have to go way outside of the city area. So I hear a lot of people also telling me they're leaving Toronto, moving to Calgary, other provinces, and also to other countries like in Europe. And I think that's great. People can cash in on their investments or their properties here, and they can move to somewhere that's cheaper. And there's always going to be people moving in and out of a big city, right? So what I am seeing a lot right now in Toronto area is a lot of international students here, couples and families with young children. They're here for job opportunities, education, and simply a safer environment for the future of their families. It's not perfect, and there are a lot of issues like higher taxes, higher prices, high competition, but it is an amazing, amazing city, and you've got to, be here to see that. So is Toronto overpriced, or is it just the price that you have to pay to live in a world-class city? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And you know what to do for more future updates on our GTA market. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you're going to be notified of my next videos. I really enjoyed doing this and sharing this with you. And thank you so much for watching today. And I'm going to see you in the next video.